Notice anything? Yup! Oh my god, I love my hair so much. I just got it done yesterday and like I can't stop touching my hair. I can't stop looking at it. It's giving me 90s, it's giving me horror vibes, it's everything and more. But I'm not here today to talk about my new hairdo. Today I'm here to talk about Halloween 3, The Season of the Witch. Halloween 3 came out in 1982 and it received a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. Hospital emergency room Dr. Dan Chalice and Ellie Grimbridge, the daughter of a murder victim, uncover a terrible plot by small-town mask maker Connell Cochran, a madman who's planning a Halloween mass murder using an ancient Celtic ritual. The ritual involves a boulder stolen from Stonehenge, the use of silver shamrock masks, and a triggering device contained in a television commercial, all designed to kill millions of children. So this is a controversial movie. Today's gonna be a fun review, but I am gonna start again with my fun facts and then I'll get into my opinions. So John Carpenter's original plan was to do like an anthology style series. I'm sure most of you fans are aware of that, but this movie flopped at the box office and so they decided to bring back Michael Myers in part 4. And it's just ironic because John Carpenter and his wife Deborah Hill only agreed to produce this movie if it didn't have anything to do with Michael Myers. Like they were really set on this anthology series idea. And it flopped. Ooh. You might recognize the tune of the Silver Shamrock commercial because it is the tune of The London Bridge is Falling Down.
It's time. It's time.
And they chose that simply because it was public domain, they didn't have to pay for it. The voice of the operator that Chalice keeps trying to call in Santa Mira is actually the voice of Jamie Lee Curtis. If you remember the scene where Chalice throws the mask onto the camera, like the security camera up in the corner, that scene actually took 40 takes to do. And they were not expecting it to take that long because before the shoot, he playfully just like tossed it up and he got it up there on the first try, so they had no idea it was gonna take them 40 takes to do it again. The gas station in this movie is also seen in John Carpenter's The Fog, which I have not yet seen, by the way. It was on Shudder and then I totally missed it before they took it off again. Bummer. The small town of Santa Mira was also the setting for The Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which is an excellent movie from the 50s if you've never seen it. The voice of the announcer in the Silver Shamrock commercials is actually the writer and director of this movie, Tommy Lee Wallace. And my final fun fact, Tom Atkins got pneumonia while making this film. So in my last Halloween review, I shouted out a comment at the very end, but this week I think I'm gonna do it now prior to my opinions, and I want to shout out Joel Mayberry. We were having a little bit of a conversation and his podcast Scare Talk came up and I checked it out and it's pretty good, so if you guys want to hear some more perspectives, definitely check out Scare Talk. I listened to their episode discussing Halloween 3 and I agreed with several of their points. One of them being that this should not have been called Halloween 3, The Season of the Witch. They should have just taken off the Halloween 3 part because it's clearly not a sequel to the Halloween franchise. If they really wanted to do it in a true anthology style, they would have just called it The Season of the Witch, but then I guess that would negate the point of making it a series. I don't know. They also mentioned that people are appreciating it more now because as more and more horrible sequels and remakes have been made and such, people are starting to appreciate the idea of an anthology from John Carpenter rather than this long drawn out series. And I would agree with that as well, even though I wasn't born at a time when this was coming out and I'm really just brand new to this series. I do agree with that. Just because I did a double header and I watched part 4 immediately after watching part 3, and the return of Michael Myers, like, looking back now, I feel like it would have made a lot more sense to do an anthology style, but it is what it is. You know, we got a bunch of movies with Michael Myers, so let's just appreciate what we have, I guess. So if you want to hear more of their thoughts, they are doing an entire Halloween series as well, so check them out. They're on basically every streaming platform where you get podcasts. So several people commented about their anticipation on my thoughts for this movie, and I know I'm gonna disappoint about half of you. Well, okay, so I feel like I try my best to find facets of it, like every movie that I watch that I like. I try to find something good in everything. So I hopefully will please the majority, although, you know, my thoughts are my thoughts. I'm not gonna please everybody, I'm aware of that. But a lot of people hate this movie, and then a lot of people have a really strong appreciation for it because they were rooting for the anthology series rather than a bunch of Michael movies. So, what do I think? Is the anticipation killing you? Okay, I didn't really like it. Listen, the plot I loved. The story itself, phenomenal. The execution, No, let's discuss. So the story was great. Let's talk about that though, because I feel like it was just way too ambitious for 1982, unfortunately. Obviously they didn't know how much more high-tech movies were gonna become, where CG would go, etc. And it just, oh, the special effects were bad. They looked so bad. Okay, well, the practical effects actually looked okay. Spoilers. The practical effects looked pretty good. There was a little boy that like died and a bunch of bugs and snakes were crawling out of his body. That looked pretty good in my opinion. There was also that moment where the woman had the pin and then the laser came out of the pin. So the CGI of the laser, bad, but the practical effects of her face melting back and the bug crawling out, good. The practical effects of the robots also were really good. Their weird orange goop made little to zero sense to me, but I like the look of it because it was a lot more frightening than just ripping it open and only finding wires. There was indeed also some weird orange goop. So let's talk about the characters of this movie, starting with our good old doctor. You mean to tell me that I am supposed to root for the man who bails on his children to run away to some small town with a younger woman to investigate a random case that he has no emotional investment in? A man who simultaneously is flirtatious with the other doctors in his hospital, but sleeps with a woman who's 24 years younger than him. No thank you. No thank you. On that note, the whole romantic subplot, why? ¿Por qué? Like, it's a slasher, sort of, so there has to be some sex scenes and nudity for the sake of nudity, I get it. But in at least one of them, Stacy looked so uncomfortable, the actress, not the character. Like, it was just not believable at all. And on that topic, another side tangent, her acting was terrible. Like, the moment where her father was revealed to her, like when they lifted up the sheet and she saw it was him and she's like, oh, girl, it's your dad and he's dead. Like, is that really the strongest reaction you're gonna have? And back to the sex scenes. I mean, she just looks like she was not having a good time. Straight up just not having a good time. And it was just comical to me. But it was more so just annoying because I was like, what are we doing here? What is this contributing to the plot? In general, every scene should serve some sort of function to the grand scheme of the plot. If it doesn't, cut it. And the whole romantic subplot made precisely zero sense to me, especially given their ages, the fact that he was old enough to be her dad. It just seems like whoever was writing it was trying to fulfill one of their own fantasies and whatever. This was also definitely not Tom Atkins' best performance. For example, like I mentioned, there was the little boy that had a bunch of bugs crawling out of him and snakes, and he reacted to this in the most mild-mannered way possible. He like put up his fists and was like, no. So anyways, story was good, but the acting was bad, so the execution just didn't live up to the storyline for me, but I did like where the story went. This movie was basically a conspiracy theory lover's dream, and so it was a fun time for me. I think that the idea was immaculate. You have this mask-making tycoon, if you will, who's hell-bent on completing a ritual to kill a bunch of children and then presumably gain something from that. That was a little bit unclear to me, but I did like our villain and the direction that the plot went with him. I also love the fact that his minions were literally robots. How random, but cool. I already talked about them, never mind. But the god dang execution. The pacing was just so god awful, and literally in my notes, I literally wrote, I am very, como se dice, bored. Oh my god, I'm sorry. It's just the way that the reactions from my actors were not strong enough to make it feel like it was a well-paced movie. Like, really intense things would happen, there'd be such a lackluster response, and then I'd be like, okay, and let's talk about the ending because they leave us on a cliffhanger. So sometimes I like a cliffhanger. In this case, it made me think, oh, so the entire storyline that I just witnessed was pointless because we don't even know if he succeeded in saving millions of children. Holy cow. Oh, if there was a remake of this movie today with today's CGI, today's writing, today's editing, I would watch the hell out of it. I thought the idea was so good. A lot of the writing was pretty bad because like, why do you have this 24-year age gap with this random romantic subplot that nobody asked for? But other than that, great. Like, great story, great idea. So if there was a remake, I'd be on board, but this movie was not for me. I also can't really believe that it has 4.5 stars on Amazon at least, and it has a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. That feels really high to me, just given the quality of other movies from the 80s and the quality of this movie. I don't understand rating systems. I also think that I would feel differently about it had the anthology idea been more successful and they had actually made more different movies, but they went right back to Michael because that's what makes that money. But I'm a bigger fan of originality than I am of drawing out super long series when the ultimate motive is just those dollar bills. So also, I'll definitely be doing a top kills for this Halloween series. I already filmed one for my Friday series, and I actually pre-filmed quite a few more videos that are going to be coming out in the next couple weeks. So if my hair is different on Wednesday, again, it is what it is. I just like to pre-film to have a bunch of footage to edit just in case I don't have a chance to film. You feel me? I like to get a lot of it knocked out all at once. So my hair will be back to my old hairstyle for the rest of this week, and then I think one more Friday video after that. Oh well. Anyways, I'm sorry if any of you were rooting for the anthology series that didn't happen and you liked this movie. I'm sorry that I didn't like it. Again, the idea was great, the execution not so much. But different strokes for different folks. I hope that you'll still tune in next week for my review of Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers. And on that note, if you're new, I post on this channel 3 days a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and once a week on my vlog channel. That's 4 new videos a week. That's a lot of content, baby. I also have social media or whatever, so I'll just put that up on the screen and you can follow me at Kai Johns and have fun, say hi, follow me if you feel like it. Definitely check out those links down below. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that I catch you in the next one. Bye!